Good evening, Phoenix Blue followers. It's 26th of January and it's Trading Tuesday. Time for a quick recap on how the markets have moved this week and any sort of pending orders and open positions, what's going on out there. Okay, Euro dollar, let's start with this. No real difference from last week. What we can see is that the bottom of the range is held, and we will be trading this particular range. We'll be looking at longs from 107.90 and shorts from 109.70. Okay, we will be trading that range actively. In the middle, we will be doing nothing. Okay, so good trade management, good entries, and there's a tidy little profit to be made out of this particular chart. Next chart we will look at will be GBP USD. Okay, this particular market, you can see since Friday we've had a little bullish move up today. Okay, now is this something we're going to trade? We're not actually going to trade this move up, but what we will be looking at doing is trading from the 1.4625 level or the 1.48625 level. We'll be looking at those particular zones to be getting short. We see further downside in GBP USD. Over the longer term, we'll be looking at extended targets of around 135s. Okay, so we are expecting another leg down on this particular market. New Zealand dollar. Okay, so we've had some really good trades on this. However, last week we did get stopped out on our add-in position through here. We went short at 65.13, and we got stopped by a few pips, and the market continued to the downside. Now today, the moves that it had sort of gained against the dollar, or I should say lost against the dollar, is pulling back today. There's been a bit of a correction today, so the commodity currencies are fighting back today. So we will be looking at getting in short actually again on this particular market. We'll be looking at going short in and around the 65.50 level. At Phoenix Blue, we're expecting a potential rate cut coming from the RBNZ, whether it's this month or next month, but we are looking at building a position and running this down to the big midterm target of 0.6. As you can see in here, we do have targets in and around the 63.20 area, but this is coming from 68.60 with an initial 40 pip stop loss. There's some really big returns to be had there. I've got to say that January 2016 has been our best trading month for a few years. It has been fantastic, and we can't get overconfident with this. Let's move on to the next particular market. Okay, dollar Swissy. At the time we took this screenshot, the market has moved considerably higher. Okay, so the dollar is gaining strength against the Swiss franc, and you'll probably see that in the Euro Swiss. It's pushed through 1.1 earlier. So right now, Swissy is somewhere up through these highs. I was looking at it coming back down here for another potential re-entry into this market. If it just runs off and hits target 2, so be it. We can see that potentially where it has come off, we can see that there was a couple of tips of wicks here, tips of wicks through here, so we can see that there was an element of structure here that it has potentially bounced from. Although it is a good area for going long, it wasn't one of our rules, so we were looking for that deeper retracement into 100.55 in around that area, and we were looking to add into our already moving fantastically well position in at 0.9970. Okay, we've got profit locked in and we're moving very, very well towards target 2. Next chart we're going to look at is Aussie USD. Now, we did take a position in here on Friday. We got short at 0.7043. We've hit first targets. Okay, the market's moved down really nicely in our favor. We hit first targets. We moved our stops to break even. We're still in our current position from up here at 72.85. Okay, we did have another add-in through here at 71.54. Now, if this does come back up and stop our second position for break even, so be it. But we will be looking to add into this particular position again, whether it comes back up here or whether it does retrace and stop our second entry at 71.54 where we've got stops in here. We will look to get back short, whether it retraces up here or in here, because we do see further downside to the Aussie USD. Dollar yen, again, we can see what's going on here, risk on and risk off market. Okay, now why do we talk about that? Uncertain times, we've got to think about money flow. Where does it go and where does it come to? Okay, so in terms of uncertainty, money leaves equities. Why? Because people believe they're not going to get a yield from it. They're not getting that anticipated yield, so they look to move to safe havens. Yen, gold, that particular kind of asset. So what you'll see is yen has been strengthening of recent as the indexes have been declining. Okay, so we sold in here at 118.80 on Friday. We got triggered. We took a nice 100 pips profit out of that today. It's then come down, and as we've seen commodities rally this afternoon after the basically through China and Asian session, there was a huge sell-off in the markets. And for some reason today, oil's been gaining strength, and we see that because not only have we seen oil gaining strength, that comes through into the equities, and we're seeing that the equities are rallying, yen is weakening, Canadian dollar is strengthening, so commodity-backed currencies are having a rally. We've seen Aussie dollar push right back up into the day's highs now. So Japanese yen, will this 118.80 hold? Or we're going to see a little push through up to the 120 area. Well, we'll have to watch the technicals, see what happens with the equities. Okay, dollar CAD, as I've just mentioned. Well, this morning, on the morning review, we were potentially thinking that this market, we'd missed the boat and off it was going to go. Well, there's been a huge shift this afternoon, and we're now looking at likely that our 1.4 area to add into dollar CAD, or I should say take our initial entry into dollar CAD, could come to us. Okay, now why are we looking at this particular area? Well, we've got nice previous structure highs here. We've also got multiple fib overlaps coming in. So we'll be looking at this and the correlation with oil, looking to get long here and targeting 1.5 over a midterm target. Next chart we're going to look at is CAD Yen. Okay, this is a weekly chart. The top one, again, they're both weekly charts, but the top one is a zoomed out, so you can see a lot more data in where we're analyzing this particular market and where we're looking for it to go. Now, down here, this is one where we can actually focus in more detail into what's actually happening in the pricing structure. We look at this particular candle here that came off this intersection where we can see the long-term support trend line, and the long-term support trend line become resistance, now become support. Price came down, touched it beautifully, had a big rally off it. Now, as this rallies, this is CAD strength and yen weakness. Now, if we look at what we talked about in our previous slide, CAD coming back to support with dollar CAD, we're talking about CAD strength. Also, oil having a rally. We'll see our next slide. We also mentioned about yen potentially weakening a little bit further before we get the next move. So CAD yen looks beautiful in terms of what we've highlighted earlier with particular CAD markets and Japanese markets. So we're looking for that push up into 86, where we'll then look to sell off down into the big round number 80 to 79. Fantastic risk reward on this particular trade if we can time it perfectly. Then we're looking at the S&P 500. Okay, so we've got our support or resistance levels marked in here. Now, whether the market is going to topple over from here or whether it's going to have a rally up to the next zone in and around 1980, okay, where we can then expect to decline. This is what we're anticipating at Phoenix Blue. Okay, it doesn't mean we're going to be right, but we trade our bias. Okay, the major return on this particular market, as with dollar yen, will be when we see a close below these levels here. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to a couple of charts. I'm going to go back to dollar yen. This here, 116 or 115.80s, 115.90s. If we get a daily close below here, this is where we'll see a really strong, powerful move down to these highs here at least, which is down at 110, maybe even back down to 105s, 106s. So you'll be able to see the correlations. This is the kind of thing you need to be doing at home. And then finally, we're looking at the gold chart. Well, as you know, guys, we've been showing you our gold progress and where we entered the market and what we anticipated to happen. So as you know, if you've been following our Instagram posts or our videos, we entered we entered at 1075. Okay, our first target was 1120. Well, we actually closed our first target out today at 11.17. We came out a little bit early. I just wanted to bank some more profits just to add to the January. Now, if we do get a pullback, this is the area we'll be looking. A lovely area in and around sort of 1082, or even somewhere back here, but 1082, 1090 would be really nice. But I want to see where we close today. If we close somewhere up here, we could potentially use these highs through here around 1108, 1109 as a potential add-in area if we're just going to get a small pullback. Long-term targets, we're looking at over $1,200, maybe $1,220, as we see uncertain times in equities. Okay? So in terms of where we're at, guys, I hope you found this information useful. I hope you've seen what we're anticipating with gold, okay, and how that correlates with the indexes, how it correlates with Japanese yen. And last but not least, I'm just going to show you the oil chart, which again coincides with our analysis on the Canadian dollar. Now, we're looking for this push up into around $34.80, $35, big number, nice fib retracement, and top of a channel, okay, and we'll look to sell off again. Why are we still looking to sell oil on such a big move today? Well, there's no let up in the supply, okay? We've got OPEC, we've got Iran, everyone's pumping at will, trying to dominate market share. Okay, oil probably is a little bit too low at these prices, but no one wants to give up market share. So I'm anticipating we're going to see further downside to oil, which will then weigh on equities. Okay, this is where our analysis is coming from. So we're looking at the fundamentals, we're looking at the technicals, and then we're looking to combine both to give us a perfect entry. Okay, guys, listen, thank you for watching Trading Tuesdays. Please follow us each week. We also have the morning review for public viewing. Okay, any inquiries, please mail info@phoenixblue.co.uk or follow us on Instagram at Phoenix Blue Trading. Thank you, have a good evening, and enjoy the rest of your trading week.